It wasn't always like that when I started in voiceover. I definitely had times where I doubted myself, where I felt I had to find my stride. I had to learn a lot of techniques. I had to learn how to do characters very fast. You know, you have to learn to believe in your skills, and I learned as I went. But then as you get older, you realize the more you let go, the better off you're going to be. I found my stride when I let go and say, you know, whatever.
She said the thing.
I
Again, the
said that line. I
goosebumps.
love that line because
Yeah.
Juri is really just, she doesn't care. And she does give you license to just go, I don't care what happens.
Today on the show, we are joined with the one and only Jessica Straus. Going all the way back to Diablo 2, Command & Conquer, Infamous, Fallout, and even my favorite character in the Street Fighter universe, Juri Han. We learn about her fascinating journey that got her into voice acting, to layers and layers behind the Juri character, the auditions, how she found her voice and attitude, working behind the scenes for Capcom, her reaction to the Street Fighter 6 Juri reveal, and just a lot of knowledge and information about voice acting in the gaming industry, and how she really found her stride by taking all her skills and learning how to let go, get lost into a character. Jessica is such a gem, has a huge appreciation for all our fans, which you're going to hear about, and also a little context as we jump into this. I hit the record button as we were mid-banter, having some small talk about her history as that segues into her personal journey. So yeah, let's get right into it.
What is the game? Diablo 2 that you
There was
play?
Diablo 2, there was
I was
Command and
Amazon.
Conquer.
Command and
Yeah.
Conquer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were like the AI voice, I guess, or
Yeah, but you can't recognize my voice. But it's funny. I mean, it was really weird when I ran into fans for that game because they totally tweaked my voice. And I
Mhm.
thought, no one's going to recognize me, but people actually were affected by that voice. I did a video on it recently for the AI, just go, hey, they covered up my voice, but I have fans for this. You know, they put AI, they made it so you couldn't even recognize my voice, but I still had fans. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they were like such huge, like kind of blockbuster games in
Yeah.
the growth of gaming culture back then too, where like PC games were really popping off, and yeah, I'm
Yeah.
it's really cool. Just kind of like how did you get into voice acting too?
Well, you know, I started with a theater background. I mean, when I was a little kid, I used to put on shows and all that kind of stuff. But started with a theater background in college, and I did a lot of characters up on stage, and I just loved it. So then I came down to LA, and I did the whole on camera doing all the massive theater too when I first came to LA. So I had no idea about voiceover. And I did that for a while. And I developed a lot of improvisational experience on stage through this one company that was called Glorious Players at a very well known theater company in LA. And so we developed characters for kids' shows and we went and toured. And I also did other stage shows where I got to play characters that were not me.
Mm.
And I ended up really loving that. And so as I built my career in theater, I didn't know my voiceover career
Hmm.
because it really taught me, not especially the improvisational experience that I had with Glorious Players, because they did all their scripts from improv. So we would do 3 or 4 months of improvisation, and
Wow.
that would create a script that was original. And I also did sketch comedy. Sketch comedy really
Cool.
helped
Yeah.
me for yeah, I was in a sketch comedy troupe uh, that did some fun shows that were just women sketch comedy. And we also toured a little bit. We went to Seattle. We were in a sketch comedy festival. So all that stuff, playing characters that didn't look like me, helped me to get into voiceover. So when voiceover came along, I was on doing on camera, but I wasn't booking as much as I wanted to because they wanted, uh, I was kind of in between. I wasn't a Barbie doll, but I wasn't a character actress,
Mhm.
but deep down inside, that's who I was.
Yeah.
And it was almost like I didn't, because they look at how you look on camera and you have to fit that, and then they cast you. And so when voiceover came along, I didn't know. I think I got my first job for Diablo 2 through my on-camera agent. They sent me out on an audition and they had me read for Amazon, and I had to prep by watching Xena Warrior Princess.
Oh, that's a classic show.
I know. And I loved the show. And I went in, and it was through an on-camera casting director at the time, would never be now. And I ended up booking it.
Cool.
And so, and I did not know how popular games were, but at that point. And so really all my preparation in stage and all the vocal exercises and all the things that I did for stage helped prepare me for all the character work that I did in voiceover.
Oh, that's so cool to
Yeah.
hear that background and everything. And I also love, I think it's so charming how you didn't realize how popular these games are, where like Diablo 2 is like critically acclaimed as like one of the
Yes.
greatest games of all
Again.
time type of people.
Yes.
People have that in their top fives and everything. And even like kind of going to my fandom, what I'm connected with, just all my life, I've been just big into the Street Fighter universe too. And even I remember just the new wave around like all these new characters coming in 2010 when I first where I thought I first heard your voice as Juri. And I kind of want to know like
Yeah.
how, if you remember like how Capcom approached you, or was there like an audition process for this or anything?
Oh, I totally remember it. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, we now behind me, I have a home studio, right? But back then, I might have been recording in a closet for auditions, but a lot of auditions back in the day were they were done where you go and you show up at the studio or at the production house. And so I went to New Generation Pictures offices and I got scripts there. You don't get them in advance. And then I just had about 10 or 20 minutes with the scripts. And I think I auditioned for 3 characters,
Cool.
and I had no idea what game it was because everything's very NDA and it still is. But
Hmm.
yeah, so back then I didn't know the game, I didn't know the real name of the character, and I just did my best for those 3 characters when I auditioned. And Jonathan Klein was there directing me, and it was just a microphone in an office, which is
Cool.
not what they do anymore, of course. I mean, you're lucky if you get to go into the studio to audition. It's all done from home.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went and I auditioned with a character that I had created for other games in the past, but she hadn't booked. And I thought,
Mm,
I'm going to just tweak her and put her in this dialogue because she fits.
so
And she
cool.
ended up booking it. And I like to say the character booked it, not me.
So that's actually interesting too, like kind of your own, I guess, creativity and personality went into this, because this character is such a like iconic for just being this lovable but absolute crazy bitch, and it's just
Yes, she's
so
lovable and
fun.
crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like with a especially like with the new Street Fighter 2, they've added a lot more story and dialogue to it.
Yeah.
And it's like just reminds me, it's like, oh, these are the type of, or she's like kind of a type of girl I would date in college, and I knew it wasn't going to work out, but she's
Yeah.
there's something attractive about
I dated those guys in college. Oh,
it.
what?
Yeah.
More in high school.
Yeah, but yeah, even I'm very curious too, like especially like there's so much like zaniness and personality and insanity into this character, just kind of like how these vocal sessions go. Do you like spend a lot of time doing take after take of like the evil laugh, or like just wit, like all those like quick-witted stuff?
Um, when we first created her, when you get a character at the beginning, they might take a little bit of time to create it. During the first sessions of Juri Han, I was directed, uh, in a way that uh, was finding the character and placing her voice from higher to lower and discovering who she was as the character. But then as you get into future sessions, you kind of come in character. It just depends on, you don't do tons and tons of takes. Once you get hit the ground running. You just go with the flow, and you're in. At least this is what I do. I'm in character and I know the character. Sometimes they want a bunch of different takes because there's a lot of people uh, in the production that want to try it in a bunch of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But um, usually I just keep in character, for the session, in and out of character, taking direction. And once I find that zone of the character, I think it's just one or two takes, sometimes three.
Wow, that's really cool. And
Yeah.
talking to you now, and like even like seeing like your Instagram feed of sharing like fan art too.
Yeah.
I see you like kind of speaking in videos. I'm like, oh, this is a very sweet lady. And then cut to the character Juri, just absolute craziness. Do you feel like doing a jury session is kind of like cathartic to like kind of let loose and everything, and maybe just tap into like maybe a zany side of your personality?
Yes. Yes. And truthfully, um, I like playing opposites of me. As I've gotten older, I realized when I was a little kid, I was a little bit uh, aggressive, but I was never like her. But
Mm-hmm.
I based her very loosely on somebody that came to my acting class years ago. And I've told this story before, but it was Jennifer Tilly.
Oh, no way.
Because she sort of talks like a baby doll,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
and she has sort of this hi, a little bit of
Yeah.
that. And she came to my acting class that was run by David Beard a long time ago, who has since passed away. Rest in peace. But he was one of my first acting coaches for theater and on
Wow.
camera. And he knew a lot of people in the business, and he worked with her on a film. And so she came to class, and I kind of just remembered what her vibe was. And so it's not her, but it's her mixed in with my imagination and the wonderful dialogue that Capcom, the writers, wrote for her, and also how the directors directed me. And every time, every version of Juri changed. It almost seemed like with her outfit in the game, like from 4 to 5 to 6. Like in
Hmm.
6, she's a little bit more rough and ready, I
Yeah.
think, and she's a lot more aggressive, I think. Whereas in 4, I thought she was very aggressive, but she was very laid back, kind of like
Hmm.
she's on drugs or something.
when you when you slip into that voice, I get goosebumps because
It's
yeah.
funny though. I like doing other characters. I like channeling other characters that are
Yeah.
different from me. I find it very fascinating.
Hmm.
When at the beginning of the career, like Amazon wasn't me. But it was using more my regular voice. But and my voice has gotten lower as I've gotten older. But I think that characters that are different from me are so interesting to play. And I also get chills watching what Capcom did with her. So it's
Yeah.
it's almost like it's not me. It's like I almost, when you're in the best version of acting, it's like you can stand apart from it and go, huh, that person came down and look what they did. But it wasn't always like that when I started in voiceover. I definitely had times where I doubted myself, where I felt I had to find my stride. I had to learn a lot of techniques. I had to learn how to do characters very fast and use
Mm.
my improvisational skills really fast. And so sometimes I um, didn't 100%, you have to learn to believe in your skills. And I learned as I went. But then as you get older, you realize the more you let go, the better off you're going to be.
Oh, that's like that's beautiful like advice for anybody who's like trying to, I don't know. I know a lot
Yeah,
of
trying. There is
aspiring,
no try. There's only
you're
do.
just doing, but I know a lot of aspiring actors and stuff like that, so I'm definitely going to send them a clip too of just like sometimes you got to let go because sometimes you can get so much in your own head, and
Yes.
it's almost like you tighten up instead of just, it's, I don't know, it's just like there's not a word for it, just that feeling of like being, you know.
Yes. And actually, that's what I strive for. The thing, one time I was going, what is this about? This is about just focusing and
Mhm.
having creative energy come through you and taking direction and being open. That's all it's about. So if you can actually stand in that, it's kind of hard because at different studios, you might have different people putting in different energy and different ideas. So to maintain your presence and your center and your creativity without taking anything personal is a skill that you have to learn. But if you get out of your head and you're just allowing yourself to sort of be like a kid, you
Mhm.
really can't fail.
That's amazing. Do
I
you
mean,
feel, yeah.
there's other voice actors and coaches that teach like that, and I think that really speaks for me. I don't I found my stride when I let go and say, whatever.
She said the thing.
I
Again, the
said that line.
goosebumps.
I love that line because
Yeah.
Juri is really just she doesn't care, and she does give you license to just go. I don't care what happens.
Yeah, yeah. Even it's so interesting you to say like the Jennifer Tilly reference because I didn't connect that and now I'm like, oh my God, the Bride of Chucky is
It's just an
definitely,
element of her.
yeah, just that little extra rasp in the voice and oh man, it's so good.
But it's
Chef's kiss,
her
like
she's got a sexy sultry voice, but there's a demon behind it.
yeah.
There's a presence where you just like don't screw with that lady.
Yeah, it's like you're hot, but I'm terrified of you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yet, but she's very magnetic. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
there's just something about the character too, and even I got to commend Capcom for the latest Street Fighter 6 because
oh,
even
I know.
even around your dialogue, there's in the story mode, there's little things where the characters you meet, if you decide to be like have them as your mentor, they'll send you text messages throughout the games too. So
Oh,
I don't know if you've seen a lot of this dialogue, but it's really
oh,
funny because each character you meet, you can almost build like a bond meter with them. And as soon as
oh.
I saw Juri in an alley beside a motorbike, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try to make friends with Juri, and I don't think she's gonna allow it. But
How did that go?
so long story short, if you meet any other character in the game, like their bond meter goes up to a level of 20. After level one, usually the character is like, okay, we're friends now. It took me
Yeah.
to like level like 16 or 18 for Jerry to just
Yeah.
not be annoyed by my presence.
Oh my
And then
God.
there was also something beautiful like at the end of that whole like little side story arc if you continue to kind of like build a friendship where you almost like feel for the character of Juri and you realize the way she is because she had a very rough life and
Yeah.
she ends up just embracing like okay we're buddies now too but it takes hours of like doing that to her because obviously she's Juri.
Yeah. I haven't played it that far. The only place I played it was at a signing where they had the voice actors play each other in a tournament,
Oh
which I
cool,
kind of
cool.
sucked at, but
It's a hard
I'm
game,
not
it's a
really
very
good at
hard game.
it. Yeah, my doing this. I mean, I enjoy playing it, but some people are really skilled. I can see where the skill comes in, but I had a lot of fun playing it, but I haven't played the game all the way through, and I would love. So as I find clips on the internet, I hear some of that dialogue that I got, just in the studio. You don't get it before you come in
Yeah, and
to
I'm sure
to
some
to
is like
dub
kind
it.
of out of context too, as well, when you're making these voices, right?
Yeah, a lot of times you're not hearing the other actor. You have to do the line. You use your imagination. You're just doing the line based on what the director gives you, based on your own instincts, based on sometimes they give you pictures, but nothing finished. So when I saw the finished product, when I saw her trailer, uh, I was floored.
Mhm.
And the crowd's response, I was just like, I got chills. And when I saw everybody else's trailer too, all the other cast members, I was just like, oh my God, they did such an amazing job with the animation and the graphics in this game.
Yeah, so
So
much
that,
art.
yeah, it's
And
just it's like a piece of art really this time
yeah,
around. It
even
always was.
yeah, I forgot your trailer was like released during one of the big like the biggest tournaments
E3.
in the world too. Yeah, or
No,
no,
not
it
E3.
was it Evo or
Evo, yeah. Sorry, not
yeah.
E3.
But just to have like almost an arena of people see you pop up and like your
Yeah.
character on the motorcycle and maybe say a couple lines and like a
And then
crowd
she's like
explodes.
soaring through the air, like trying to kick people. And I
Yeah,
never saw the graphics of and lifting up someone's face with her foot. I was like, oh my God,
kicking.
these guys
Yeah,
just they hit it out of the park with this one.
yeah, and she's been such like a staple of like I guess like now in pop culture too. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen the clip of Zelina Vega in WWE where she
Yeah, yeah,
cosplayed
yeah.
as her, and it's
Yeah.
just yeah, I find like over the history of Street Fighter, like over 30 years too, they got their staple of like the main eight characters, but sometimes when they introduce somebody new, the fans don't really gravitate to them as much. But for some reason, Street Fighter 4 and Juri, she just became such a major hit that I don't see a game like in the future without her, and everything.
Every game would have her in it.
Yeah, from now on, I
Yeah,
believe.
oh,
And
every Street Fighter game, but not
yeah,
every
yeah. But oh yeah, definitely. But even they show like this kind of like the stats of who people are playing, and she's like one of the most popular, like right across the board too. So she's
I was
became like a
surprised
staple.
because she was very popular when 4 came out, and I was just getting used to that back then. So I went through the whole shock of like, wow, she's way more popular than I thought. But then I thought in 5 she was still really popular. When 6 came out, I thought they have all these new characters and those guys are having their own, heyday.
Mhm.
So she's not the only one. I mean, there's a lot of other actors that are experiencing uh success from this, but and rightfully so. Oh my God, there's an amazing cast for this. Jenny Kwan does an amazing job as Chun-Li, and
Mhm.
Kyle Bear came back, so that was cool. There was only a few that came back. It's a lot of new cast members, but I was surprised. I actually thought she'll come back, but everyone um is going to be thrilled by the new cast, and they are. But I was surprised that she kind of went along with the ride. That did surprise me. I thought, wow, she's even more popular. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. They just continue to make her even more and more badass, obviously, with your help too. And even again, like looking at your long list of credentials in gaming and everything, is there anything like in voice acting that almost like a dream job that you haven't done yet, whether it maybe be like a Disney character, a certain cartoon character, or anything like that?
Yeah, you say Disney cartoon characters. I don't know if they do it as much these days, but I would love to be able to be on an animation. And I have a long time ago in the past where you're actually in the studio with other actors.
Mm,
I mean,
yeah.
they don't do that as much, but it would really be cool. But I would love to be on something that's really funny,
Yeah, that's really
and
cool.
play some kind of wild, weird character. Um, or just somebody really sarcastic or funny. Just because
Oh yeah.
we need to laugh these days, right?
Yeah, definitely more than ever. It's like
More than ever.
yeah, even our little conversations before this interview too, the world is literally on fire right now. And I hope you're doing well over there. I know it's very close to home and everything. So yeah, just
Oh, no, the fires went out.
oh okay, that's good. But I
Oh,
know it
you're
was like
talking about the
affecting.
fire in like the business.
I was talking about the West Coast, the wildfires and everything, and you were saying that you're allergic to the smoke coming
The
your way
only
and
thing I'm
everything.
allergic to smoke, which is like a normal thing to be allergic to.
Yeah, most definitely. And
Yeah.
I
No,
guess
that
yeah.
cleared up because they had rain up there. That
Mhm.
it looks sounds like I looked it up and looks like because of the rain for 24 hours, a lot of the fire went out.
Oh, that's
But it was
fantastic.
huge. It
Mhm.
was a massive fire. We had half the state of California was all covered, and I'm more aware of it because I'm allergic, but all the way down to Mexico, there was bad air all along the coast that usually has fresh air.
Yeah, it's crazy. And especially like how you
Yeah.
say it's like affects your allergies and your voice too, especially the career you do. It's really rough and I'm
Oh
glad
yeah,
that
I have to like when that happens, I'm like, stay inside, wear a mask when you go outside, like one of those. It's a little bit high stress for me, but I when the air gets better, it goes away.
and
Yeah.
just as I guess like maybe like a final question. A lot of aspiring creatives themselves, like they listen to these segments and stuff. And would you have any like advice of somebody, I guess, wanting to pursue a career in the video game industry as like a voice actor?
It's so funny you're asking that. Yeah, I mean, well, only because there's uh we just signed a we're just all waiting to hear if we're going on strike or not.
Yeah, true. I keep forgetting about yeah.
But I mean, those are from the for the big, yeah, that I mean, LA is full of striking. All
Hmm.
the writers, just funny how they change doors. The video games is not on strike yet, but they just voted a yes. That's just come out on the internet in the last couple of days. But after the strike, or if there is a strike, maybe there won't be. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. Um, Improvisation is really important to video games. So being a really good actor, but also being able to change your emotions on the dime. And to do that, I think requires you to go do perform and get used to taking quick direction.
Hmm.
So one of the things that was a challenge for me, if you come out of even singing or um, I came from a theater background, is we had months to develop the character. You do not have months to develop a character in video games.
Yeah,
You're
very
lucky if you get
fast.
the script in advance. It's very fast. So it is creating a bunch of characters that you know and wanting it's less character acting these days because there's a lot of basing it off of your regular voice. Being able to switch emotions really quick, say a line a bunch of different ways. Because when you're in the studio, you don't want to sit there and go, oh my God, I have to go fast. But the faster you can go, the faster you can flip your emotions, the faster you can create something different that sounds different. Um, the better off you'll be because time is money
Mm,
and they book you for a certain amount of time. So you don't want to think that going into the studio, but what you want to do is prepare for it by being as loose and confident as possible and creating as many characters beforehand that can springboard you into more characters when you get directed.
that's awesome. And yeah, thank you for sharing that advice too. Such a
Yeah.
true vet in the video game world. And yeah, it was such an
Thank
honor
you.
to talk to you.
Thanks, Sean.
Especially even beyond like this interview, I feel like Juri 2010, I've spent so much time just hearing your voice and to meet the lady behind it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Like I can't even tell you the hours where I've just heard like your little like sass as I'm like beating somebody down or getting beat up and everything. So it's just this one's
Yeah.
like an extra heartwarming interview for me. So
Oh.
it's super cool to just pick your brain on everything and I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, well, I really appreciate the fans because, theater, you have them sitting in the seats, but you guys, you are a fan and the people that play the games gives me the feedback that I don't get as a voiceover artist, when I'm just in the studio with the director and the engineer. It's having people react and hearing that. It's just, wow, I had no idea. And it's the collaboration with the rest of the creative team and the cast members.
Mhm.
Capcom really sets you up. I mean, if they
Yeah.
didn't do what they did, all the writing and the creating behind the scenes, then it wouldn't have come out as good, I think. But so it's a real collaboration and but yes, meeting the fans to me is a big deal.
Yeah.
I just love it and I really appreciate it that it affects people that way.
Yeah, and it's amazing like the work you guys do, and I'm sure even like there's tons of untold stories of people how much they appreciate you guys of especially like video games are such an escape and even they do
Yes.
something to your mind where like when you're locked in, you're totally locked in and it doesn't matter like almost like what problems you have in the world like sometimes
Yeah.
it can just like from I know just over the pandemic a lot of people were communicating just through games too because they couldn't leave their
Hmm.
houses and it's just I don't know I can go in and in on the layers but you guys are so loved and appreciated and just have my utmost respect and I thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Sean. I'm
Yeah.
so glad that you said that. I mean, that's just amazing to hear. So yeah, you don't even think about all of that. But what you said is you lose yourself in the game. So the more I lose myself into the character, you draw more people in. And I think that's the same with music too, or
Very
anything
true.
creative. The more you lose yourself in the art, the more people might lose themselves in it.
Yeah, and at the end
I
of the
don't know.
day, that's what. No, no, that's well said.
It's
And
deep. It's deep.
yeah, I know we're going in, Jessica. I love it. But that's what it's all about too. And
Yeah.
even like again on that layer too, it's just I do a lot of media in both the film and music industry, and I
Uh,
feel like
yeah.
some of my deepest fandom is video games because I'm not really connected to it too. You know, it's like when
Hmm.
I'm playing a jury over the past 10 years, I'm not thinking about the layers of writing and voice acting too, so, even, like, it's just extra cool today to speak with you and
Yeah.
get those extra layers on something that's just kinda connected with me, but I don't overthink, you know? Goes back to kinda losing yourself and almost like Jury's like a real person, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if I lose myself in a character, that's the goal. When you lose yourself in a character, you can kind of surprise what comes out. But also those lines that were written were so much fun to say.
Mhm.
So a lot of times I'd end up laughing after I said a couple of lines. So I really enjoy playing her. She's such a kick. She is one of my favorite characters to voice.
Oh, such
Yeah.
so amazing, and, yeah, again, thank you so much for your time today, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'll send you an email where when this is up and everything, and
Okay.
yeah, again, can't thank you enough, like, I
Yay!
wish I had a word stronger than thank you, but my vocabulary is not that deep, but
We are deeply grateful for this interview.
you're the best. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you once again to Jessica Straus. That was such a personal treat for me. Just as a little behind the scenes thing, you may have noticed I do a lot of interviews around movies and music. And even though I'm big fans of a lot of the guests I have on, this one was extra special. Like I mentioned, I have no connection to the gaming industry, and Jessica's voice was something I've admired for a very long time. And it was so cool when I reached out that she was very down to do this talk and totally enthusiastic. And I think that came through on the recording. And even after the recording, I was reflecting on a lot of what we were saying at the end about video games being an escape for people. And it's been my escape. And going into this interview, I felt even more excited and giddy than some of my other interviews with like David Suzuki and fucking some of my music heroes, and even that time when I got tapped in to talk to Commander X, the leader of Anonymous, and I couldn't understand why I felt this way of just this excited giddy angst, but it made me realize that video games are a very important part of my life and have been almost this soothing therapy to kind of get my mind off things, get my mind off the stresses of the real world. And yeah, for the countless hours I played of the last 3 Street Fighter games, Jessica has been a prominent voice in my life. So once again, thank you, Jessica. If you're listening to this and you're also a fan of Jessica's and you want to support her, go check out her website, jessicastraus.com. On there, click the For Fans tab and you're able to purchase some signed prints and some cool stuff. And even I believe on there you can see upcoming dates if she ever books for conventions and cons if you want to say hello and also give your appreciation. And speaking of appreciation, I can't go without thanking all you legends on the Patreon page for helping me keep the lights on in this motherfucker. And first up, huge thank you to Mike Carniello of the Testing with Mike YouTube channel. If you're into technology, electronics, how they work, and most importantly, how to fix them, check out Testing with Mike on YouTube. Another huge thank you to the lovely Amanda McKnight of Top 10 Nerd. Beyond being the host of Top 10 Nerd, talking to millions of subscribers, Amanda McKnight has her own YouTube channel that you should definitely check out. Just type in Amanda McKnight and follow it, especially if you're listening to this interview and you're into comic books, video games, movies, and all things in nerd culture. Another huge thank you to the wonderful Jenny Potter, the legendary Devin McBride, Ryan frickin' Campbell, my favorite soul singer, Saber, and last but not least, Frances Coffer, aka my mom. If you want to support the show and get a shout out at the end of every episode, while also getting these episodes early, raw, and uncut right when I'm done the Zoom call, no edits, I just post them, you can go to patreon.com/thecreativeimbalance. And beyond supporting your boy, you can go to bed at night and sleep soundly, knowing you're a badass motherfucker who supports raw, uncut, independent media. And nobody can take that away from you. You hear me? With that being said, we got a lot of awesome episodes around the corner. We covered Toronto After Dark. Watched a bunch of unreleased horror movies in the theater. Oh my God. And we're going to be talking to some directors. And around that, we're keeping the interviews going. Appreciate y'all listening to this. And we'll catch you on the next one. Yeah.